You are live.
Now we're live. All right. Hello, everyone. Those of us who are here and those of you watching on demand. My name is Brad Williams. I teach at Harlem High School in Georgia. I'm also the esports coach. This is my 4th season. And today we're going to try to learn together how to really up the graphics on our League of Legends stream. So what I have here is the top scoreboard with already some customization done, but this is the basic out of the box kind of graphic. We want to learn, okay, how do I, customize this for my school? What if my colors aren't blue? What if I want to put my team logo up there? So we'll do that and more. And so I'm going to turn that off real quick. And first I want to show you how do you actually get League broadcast. So I'm going to pull up the GitHub page. So if you just search on Google League broadcast GitHub, this page comes up. And if you haven't visited GitHub before, it could be pretty overwhelming. Like, what is all of this? Do not worry about any of that. If we scroll down, there's a README. And so it tells you some in-game features you can have. We'll go over most of these as we move forward in this video. But the installation is where you really want to start. So you want to click download latest release, and that's going to download a zip folder. You can unzip that wherever you want to on your computer. I've got it in like a document streaming folder. So I'll show you where I've done that. I've unzipped it all into this folder. So when you open it up, before we worry about anything else, this is kind of what you see. I think when you first download, all you see are maybe 2 or 3 of these folders. The cache and the logs definitely populate the first time you run the program. So all we're going to do is look at the config and front end really today. So as long as you have those and you have this exe file, you've probably got what you need to be ready to go. So when you've downloaded it, that's the first step. And then it says the third, we want to add this link as a browser source in whatever streaming platform you are looking at. And I think there's already been a question about what streaming platform I recommend. I recommend Streamlabs. That's what we use, Streamlabs OBS. You can go for the main flavor of OBS. But if you are already kind of iffy about streaming, you just want to get your team out there, Streamlabs is definitely a great entry point, and it's very user intuitive and just more user friendly than OBS. So I have already done this. So let me show you how I did that. I've added this browser source in Streamlabs, and if I go to properties, this is where you enter the URL. So you just copy paste. At first, I know in Streamlabs, it'll come up with some random width and height. You want this to take up your whole screen. So you want to change that to 1920 by 1080, the entire area. If any of these are checked, just uncheck those. It may auto-populate some CSS here. You want to delete and get rid of that. And then these two are actually pretty important to check. You want to shut down when not visible. And when the scene becomes active, you want to refresh. We'll talk about why this is important when we get to the files here in a second. So that's adding the browser source. That allows this to actually show up on your stream. Now, of course, this isn't going to show up in game. Like if I am looking at League, I see League without this little sponsor thing I added down here and without this scoreboard. So this is what Streamlabs and League broadcasts are working together to add to the screen. So we've downloaded the files. It's teacher workday. Sorry about that. So we've downloaded the files. We've added the browser source. Now let's actually try to open the program. So I've already got it pinned to my taskbar, which I recommend doing when you open it the first time. Otherwise, you've got to go to the files and click on this exe, this executable file. When you do that, I'm going to just go ahead and click on my pinned link here. You've got League broadcast. It's going to come up as a home. And so you've got 3 different options here: the pick ban, the draft stage, the end game, and the post game. I'm already going to go ahead and tell you, I don't know anything about the pick ban or the post game. Those are actually pretty hard to figure out, and I haven't devoted the time. I've only been using this a couple weeks now, but I do know a lot about the in-game functions. So we're going to look at that. And even in all of this, I don't know everything, but I know a lot to get us started. So just because we've turned the pick band off doesn't mean we're not going to use this screen. What this allows us to do is set our team names. So I teach at Harlem High School, so I've added this team name Harlem here, and our initials are HHS, and then I've got a random opponent, initials OPP. You don't want to set the score. That's going to auto track for you. This coach tab, you can put your name there, but I think that only displays when you're doing the pick and ban screen, like in draft. You can change your school color to whatever you want it to be. That will change these circles that track how many games you've won. And then we show score, show coaches. Again, that doesn't happen in game. That's probably during the draft stage. And then show spells on as well. So I've added my teams, and I see it only puts the tag up here. So if you change your name but keep the tag it gives you, it's probably not going to be right. So make sure you change that. If I want to save this team, when I've named it and tagged it, I press the plus. And that allows me to go back and choose it later if I want to choose it again. So the cool thing about this is it sets the team names, but if between games you switch sides, say you go from red to blue side, instead of having like an overlay in OBS where you have to actually type and switch those, you just press this, and I need to play actually in the background, this replay. It'll switch it for you. So let me go back here for a second. So if I keep doing this, it's going to keep swapping them back and forth. And what I will say is we can add a logo here. And so if I do that, I'll just go to my desktop. Nope, my pictures. I'll add let's pause that for a second. We're going to add that logo, and you see it already popped up there. So what this is actually doing is it's creating a file with that logo, and then it's uploading it here. So obviously that has a black background. It doesn't really look that nice. We're going to talk about how do I customize that in a second. But if I switch teams, the logo also switches with it. As you can see when I play this, and boom, my logo's on the other team now as well. Okay. So this screen, set team names, your tag. You can switch them. You can add your logos. You can add whatever you want there and change the score color as well. If we go to the in-game screen, make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. Here we go. If we go to the in-game screen, we have all of our, I'm trying to get this on the same screen here, options of what we can display in-game. So the Baron timer, Elder timer, these timers are some things I haven't actually gotten to figure out yet. The League Spectate client has these 2 timers built in, so you really don't need those. I'm pretty sure this would only occur when inhibitors have been destroyed, but I haven't really seen that. The only objective pop-up I choose to do is the kill pop-up. So when one team gets a drag or a herald or a baron, it'll pop up at the bottom of the screen, and maybe we'll get to see that, maybe not. It depends on this this replay here. There was just a patch this morning, so all my replays were void, and so I had to play a short game, and I'm not sure that actually occurred during that game. The item notifications are really cool. Those pop up on the player icon on the right or left side. Whoever builds an item, it'll pop out, say what item they built, and then kind of slowly pop back in. Same for the level up. Every time a player levels up, it'll pop up over their name with a little graphic. This experience gold and CS per minute tab, those are going to pop up on the left side and give you dynamic information about what's happening during the game for each player. And these are really good. They give the viewer more information, but if you have casters, which we don't yet, but if you do have casters, if they can just pull up that tab, it gives them a lot more information to talk about and can maybe guide them in discussing what's happening in the game. You want to turn all these on. Scoreboard, team names, scores, team icons, that puts everything up here at the top. And then the gold graph will bring up a gold graph at the bottom, kind of like the one you see at the very end. If you go back to your stats, it'll show the team gold over time who has more, and can also fuel discussion with the casters as well. As far as settings, I wouldn't change any of those. Post game, not sure there is one at this moment. So the end game is really where we're going to be actually like opening these tabs, and maybe, hold on, if I can play this, we can show what that looks like. Okay, so let's set this to play. Tab out. Let's say I want to bring up experience. This will give you the experience for player. The game hasn't started yet, but as the game is going on, these will be moving in real time, showing, you know, from top to bottom who has the most and least experience. And then you have a gold tab. We'll should do the same thing for gold, who has the most and least gold. And then also CS per minute as well. So those are great tabs to bring up for your viewers and your casters to look at. And can someone in the chat tell me if they can hear all that when that happens?
Don't think we can hear it. Can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear you, actually.
Hey, all right. Can you scrub ahead in your replay and show what those graphs might look like after some EXP and golden CS?
Yes, I'm not sure everybody else can hear you, but I heard you. So I'm going to try to scroll ahead. I'm not going to try. It's really easy. I'm going to scroll ahead about midway through the game.
There was a question about the scores. They populate automatically as they trigger. So there's very little manual input was the question.
Yeah, sorry, I can't exactly see the chat that well at this moment. But yes, the scores populate automatically. And then you'll see it's also tracking the kills for each team at top, the gold, the towers, just like the regular scoreboard does. So let's play this. Okay. So if I want to bring up the experience tab, I do that, and I see that it's tracking the experience, and it shows the level as well. So you see the experience, you see the levels. I can do the gold tab. I can see who's leading in gold. So blue team overall looks like they have a gold lead, and I can see that up here as well. And then CS per minute looks like that as well. So you do get that dynamic. I need to pause it because it's all on my ear. You do get that dynamic feedback of experience, gold, and CS, which are all pretty good statistics to look at and talk about if you're a caster. Oh boy. So I'm trying to go between like 6 windows at once. All right, so we've talked about this. Literally, these are just toggles. These only actually update, though, if the replay is playing, which is another thing. Normally, I'm watching a live spectate match, and I'm doing this live, but this also works with replays. So if you're trying to customize like we're about to do and put your own scoreboard up there, make your own background for these little tabs, you can do that by just watching any replay you've downloaded and can watch through the client. So it allows you to practice and make sure you don't break anything. And then if you do break something, turn it off and back on again. It probably fixes it. The age-old trick. Okay, so I'm going to minimize that. So now let's talk about where in this maze of files do I actually find things that matter. So let's go to the config files first. There are 4 different config files. The Farsight and the pickban, you don't want to use. Farsight has nothing as far as customization, and the pickban, I mean, you can. I just haven't ventured into that one yet. Let's first pull up the component and see what this looks like. So I've got the component, and I see I've got several sections here. The data dragon, that looks like that's what's being pulled from the web. I've got pickban. It says is active, false, use delay, in-game is active, do level up. What this is telling you is these values change when you click these. So by Baron timer being false, or where did I see that? I thought I saw that. Well, if you look at something, you say, if it's false, it's not selected. If it's true, it is selected. So what's actually fun is you can change these things without actually going into that user interface. And we're going to do that in another config file and watch it automatically change in our overlay. You want to, I think there's one thing you do need to change in here. You want the end game to be true. You want to use all these. If you want to see the Baron and Dragon kills, you want to change these to true. And I actually do, so I'm going to do that. Each time you make a change, make sure to save the file, or else it won't track it for you. Do objective kill pop-up. Change that to true. Now, the team names, icon, score, those are all set to true, so you see those up at the top on your scoreboard. And you want to use that custom scoreboard so it pops up here. If this is false, this is not going to show up. So we want that to be true as well. And then this is checking, like, where is it looking for your league files in your computer? You shouldn't have to change that at all if it's installed to the default location. And that's really all you have to do in this. And really, you don't even have to open this file. You could do it in the user interface here as well. So let me make sure I save that. Let's go to another config file. This one is where the bread and butter is, in-game. So I pull up the in-game file, and you'll notice that this is a very large file with lots of text. Sometimes if you're looking for something, like if you want to look for dragon, it may be useful to do a Control F in search, which is what I've done sometimes, and I may do here in a second. But I kind of want to scroll and talk about like what each of these sections is. So the inhib is talking about those inhibitor timers. I haven't really figured those out yet, so we'll skip that section. That section is all the way to here. And then we get to score. So this is the scoreboard. It's giving you the position on the screen. And so I can change that to show you how this updates in real time. Let me play this. If I change this 960 to say 800 and I save it, now the scoreboard has shifted to the left. So I'm going to change it back to 960, save it again, and it switches back. So that's pretty cool to say. If you're going to pull up a replay file and change some of these files to see what they do, it updates in real time. So if I change that to 500 and all of a sudden it just makes it look wacky, just change it back. Have you tried it with the Teamfight UI and Spectator? I have not yet. That would be interesting to see if that works. Moving on, you get the position, the size. You can all change that. You can change the font if you want something that doesn't look so sterile and clean. You can change the font. There's a way to import Google fonts if you want to do that. I think that's towards the bottom. You can set the size, the alignment, everything, the color. You got the time position, which is in the bottom. Blue team, you got this side. You've got the kills position. So you can literally just change the numbers for any of these, move them around, change their size, change what they look like. And so you've got, on the blue side, you've got kills, the font, the icon. You've got towers. You've got gold. You've got drakes, which pop up below here, like the regular scoreboard. And and then you've got the name, which uses the tag. Then you got the icon, which is the team icon. So if you upload your team mascot, I I uploaded mine first, and it was more like a rectangular portrait style file, and my opponent's was more like a square. What you want to make sure is make the icons as square as possible before you actually upload them, because when you switch them, the size doesn't switch with it. So if one's portrait or one's square, when they switch, they're both going to be distorted because their size is now off. And you can change those sizes here. So you can make this actually be the same size as the scoreboard, and so it looks a bit more cleaner. And again, if it's playing, you can do that and see it happen in real time and play with the size to what you want it to be. You got the score, which are these circle icons, and you see use circle icons true. And then it does the same thing for the red team. So everything over here, literally everything just like that again for the red side. Towers, gold, drakes, the team icon, the team score. And then here is where we can customize something, and I'm going to do it right now. So this is the scoreboard background. It's about a third of the way down. This is the custom blue kind of alpha channel he has built in. What we want to do is we want to turn the alpha off, the false, and use image true. So I'm going to start playing this, and I'm actually going to turn the sound off. So let's go back to the beginning and give us some time. We're going to have this playing in the background, and let's change some stuff. So we want to use that. So I'm going to save this file, and I saved it, but nothing really changed. So why did that happen? Well, now we need to figure out where are these files stored. So if we go back to the lead broadcast, we want to go to the front end. The front end is what people are seeing. We want to see what people are seeing in game, and then we got some different options here. Let's go to these backgrounds. So we have different backgrounds for different things. We've got icons for dragons and barons. We've got gold graph, info page. This is your experience, CS, gold pages. We've got the pop-ups for the bottom, the item text when someone builds an item. And we've got score, and then the score team left and right. So I want to replace this score file. And I'm going to do it with this score file that I've made using my mascot. So I'm going to put it in the front end, in game, in backgrounds. I'm going to move it there. And since there's another one named score, I want it to have the exact same name. So it's calling that file. I want to replace that file. Okay, I haven't done this in real time to figure out how long this takes. But notice how it didn't change here. So this confused me at first when I was first doing this, but I contacted the actual developer. His name's Lars. He's really cool. Reached out to him on Twitter. He gave me the sage wisdom that when you change configuration settings, those update automatically. But anytime you replace files, like we just did here in backgrounds, now I see I have a different file for score. I need to refresh this browser. So hopefully, when I refresh this browser, it now pulls up my scoreboard, which it did not. What I may have to do is restart this entirely.
You might be able to refresh by double clicking on it in Streamlabs.
Double clicking on it?
Yeah. Refresh.
There we go. Okay, so click a couple things, have it refresh, and now I see my custom scoreboard behind there. A couple things I will say is, how did I know what size to make this scoreboard? If you click on any of these files and you go to the properties and go to details, it tells you the exact dimensions. So if you're trying to replace a scoreboard or backgrounds to anything, you just make a file or make a picture with those dimensions, use whatever background you want to with your team logo or whatnot, and then replace it. And as long as it's the same size, it'll fill in nicely. So you can customize all those backgrounds. We can also go to these images. And these are towers. These are all the images you see in the scoreboard. So I could replace those if I want to, but I'm perfectly fine with those being how they are. What I want to go to next are these scoreboard pop-ups. So this is what pops up when you kill a Baron, kill a Herald, kill a Dragon. So if I go to Baron, I see I have different values here. And I notice some are actually videos. So let's try to find that in our in-game file. So I've got scoreboard. I turn the background on. I see it. There it is, nice in front and center. And now let's go to objective kill, which is right below it conveniently. So I see there's a soul point scoreboard pop up when you get a soul point by killing drags. It's enabled. There's an Elder kill, Dragon kill, Baron kill, Herald kill, and those are all the kills. So the Dragon kills and Elders, well, Elder is a dragon. Those are true. The Baron is false. I want to go ahead and just enable that to be true.
Oh, I see. Use video false.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
and then we can either use the image or we can use the video. So if you want to get really fancy, then you could make your own custom video saying dragon kill, like if you want to make your own little custom clip. And here you would just have to set that to true and set this to false. And in this file, it would use the video instead of the PNG file.
Can you explain where that shows up when it happens?
Yes. Let me, where does that show up when it happens? Let me try to find it on this replay file. So here, one team got a dragon. Let's see if that scoreboard is...
It's a good spot. A whole bunch of stuff just happened. Some people hit levels. Some items got bought.
Yeah, you see people leveling up here. There should be dragon soon. Whenever they get it, I just died. There we go. Dragon kill. Front and center. Huge, huge display at the bottom. It looks nice how it comes up, but you probably want it to look different in terms of color and style, and you can totally customize that. And totally customize that in these files. So we have Baron. It has files for every single drag. So if you want to get fancy and say, we've killed the fire dragon, you can make your own fire dragon files as well. When you replace a file, though, make sure it is named exactly what it is right now. So if you replace that fire dragon, make sure it's called firekill.png. That way it knows to actually use that file. But if you did what I did earlier, you just drag it. It's named the same. It says you want to replace. Click yes. And boom, you have your customized dragon kill photo there as well. Let's see. Herald, same way. Replace your video or your picture or your photo file, wherever you want to customize that. Let's see, images. I think I want to go back to backgrounds. Okay. These backgrounds are behind your team icon. If you've put a custom background like I have up here on your scoreboard and you still got that blue little wing to the side, then you want to turn that off. And I think I missed it up here in the scoreboard. So let's go back to where this started. Okay, so score. Let's look at the blue team. Let's try to find its icon. We've got gold, Drake's name.
You just missed it.
Icon.
No, there.
No, it's right here. Okay. So team icon. I know it's kind of weird because there's some other icons too, but this is the icon for gold. So you got to look at the indentions and track that, which is a little mesmerizing, especially if I'm scrolling pretty fast and you're trying to follow. So here's the icon. It says use background true. Let's turn that off. Say false. And now work? That was for the blue team. Well, regardless, I'm going to do it again for the red team. Find the team icon. Use background true. Turn that off. Save it. Let's try to refresh this browser again. If you ever do this and it doesn't update, again, turn it off and back on again. So let's double click on this. Let's refresh it. And there we go. It's that blue background is now gone. And so if you've got a nice background list icon, it'll show there without anything behind it. You can put your own background there if you want to, but I kind of like the no background look. Let's just keep going through this and see what else we can find. This is the score background. Objective kill. Again, you can use the image, you can use video. Objective spawn. You can have those pop-ups come from the bottom when things spawn as well. In the background, you probably just saw him level up to 11. Item complete. Apparently, you can put a video for that as well. And if you do, change this to true. And so apparently you can also show this on the scoreboard, but I find it pretty nice to say, okay, show on champion indicator, like this person bought this item. You know exactly who bought it and when. This is all about items. We keep going down. This is still about items. And then we get to the level up. This is the whole level up section. And really, I wouldn't change any of this. If you want to change what the level up and stuff looks like, I mean, you can change the, where is it? You can change the font if you want to, but if you want a different background, I would just upload another JPEG PNG or PNG file with a color choice or background that you want. The info page is the one that comes up on the left side. So you just got a more shield bow, Yasuo mid. The info page, you can change its color. You can change its font. You can change its height. All these are customizable. So, I mean, it's a long file, and it does take some digging through, like scrolling through at least once to kind of figure out where things are at. How things are tabbed kind of gives you an idea of where you are. So I try to find these things that are tabbed all, like not tabbed at all, and that kind of gives me a heading. I know I'm looking at everything underneath this is about the info page. It gives me position, title, font. The title is going to show you if it's experience, CS per minute, the gold, the height, the size, what colors you're going to use, what champion icons you're going to use. But again, I wouldn't probably change most of that, if any of that. I would just change the file that comes up in the backgrounds here. So this would change the background color of the left side pop-up. This would change the background color of the items that pop out. And I think, I'm trying to find the level up. You can tell this was a Hearst, right? Now I'm just clicking around. Which honestly, when you first download this, if you just click around, it's probably a good thing. All these assets, you don't really need to worry about at all. It's all going to be in the front end where you're going to find these files to change. I'm trying to figure out.
I think it might just be a color square. And you just change the RGB.
Yeah, it could just be the color. I already passed the level up, didn't I? Info page. Again, I'm looking on the left side. Here's level up. So you got the font. You can use, okay, so use team colors. It's going to use the color. It's going to use red and blue, basically on whose side is like which is which. So you could change those colors here. But you notice how it says order color, and chaos color. Where you see that is actually here. So these are the colors that are being chosen for those. So if you change it here, it should actually change to reflect that here as well. So if you know exactly what RGB code you want to put in for that, you can just type that in and save it, and hopefully it would change the color. I'm not sure if anybody's leveling up anytime soon to where we can see that. Oh, that.
You could watch the EXP graph and find out.
This is true. That's right above it, isn't it? This is item complete. And I know this is just a bunch of scrolling, but I am trying to show you as much of this file as possible. This in-game file is where everything's at. And it does take some time to figure out where things are. Oh, info page. Here we go.
Oh, that's cool.
Use team colors text. Is there a background? We got the progress bar, which I guess you can even just change the. Here we go. So this is the info page. We can use an image. We can use a video. And this is the fallback color, I guess, if all these are false. So let's just, I don't know, try to change it to green. We'll do 20255 0 and save that. Now, if I pull up the info tab, what does it look like?
Oh,
very green. Sorry, that hurts. Let's take that away. Okay. So what if I set it to nothing? Save that, and then I go back to Leak Broadcast, and now it should be straight black. So we can definitely see that. I mean, I could just leave it up and play with the color. Let's change it to red. I don't know. Let's do like 100 red. Save that. Now you can't see anything, but it does update automatically. Black is one of my school colors, so we'll just change it back to black. And again, all those progress bars, now they seem broke. What happened? I'm just going to turn it off and back on. And there they are all again. So if anything does seem broke, like you did something wrong, literally just stopping it and restarting it is probably your best bet to figure out if it's actually broken. Most times it's not. It's just takes a little bit to catch up.
Click that double arrow at the top.
Yeah, so this double arrow brings down actually who's playing in the game that you're watching. It gives you the best of count. So if I do best of 2, then if I go back to the pick band and I see the score, if I change that to 1, then I see that up in the corner here, it gave HHS 1 game. So actually, I don't think that automatically tracks, but you can use that to say, okay, HHS took game 1, game 2, who's going to take game 2? And so we back to in-game, and you want this to be on. So it's actually doing this automatically.
That's pretty crazy stuff.
Do
you think there's anything else that's like super important, or is it just kind of play around with it from this point on?
Yeah, so we've gone over how to actually get it, how to add the browser source, how to play around in this user interface, and then for a review, if I go back to the main file or main folder here, if I click on config, the in-game one is really the one you're worried about. That has all the customization options. And I showed you where some of them are, but it really just takes like scroll down and watch the indents, because the further it is indented, that means it's within a section above it, just like regular coding. So the end game is the one you want to mess around with and look through. And then for the front end, that's where we're going to get all of our image files that we can replace. So again, if you replace an image, you actually have to close the browser, like do something to refresh the browser so it comes back up. It may not, since the game's ending, or the game is ended. Yeah, I'll probably have to rewind it. Yeah, so if I rewind it, oh, great, dragon kill. Rewind it, it pops back up. If I do it when it's paused, it won't do it either. It actually has to be playing and actually sending that information to League Broadcast for League Broadcast to actually put it on your stream. But that won't be a problem if you're doing it live for your team. There shouldn't be a pause, and if there is, not for long at all.
I'm going to test out joining you on stage. All right, I've joined you. I think I've joined you on stage. It's very exciting. So that's pretty cool. I know I played around with this and couldn't figure it out. So again, what was the name of the guy, the developer? Because he's super communicative, right?
His name is Lars something. Yes, he's super communicative. Oh, it's on the let's just pull up.
Oh, it's on the GitHub, right?
Yeah. At the very bottom, there's his Twitter. You can just DM him on Twitter, and he's pretty quick to respond. He also takes donations. So if you really like this, then throw a little money his way.
So it's a pretty powerful program, and I know we were playing with it and then watching what you were putting on, and you even had the other coach in one of your recent streams mention it in stream, right?
Well, it wasn't even the coach I was playing.
It was a completely different school. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a total change. I mean, I was watching the LCS and was like, God, it'd be so cool if they could do this. And then Ronnie did it on his stream, and I was like, how do you make this happen? And then you've taken it to a completely different level. So
yeah, shout out to Ronnie for actually letting us know this existed.
Yeah. And the other thing that's kind of nice is you showed that you can take it to a full customization, but most of that stuff, the team name and like a team logo, which can get a lot of people when they're first starting by just great, doesn't require any of that JSON, right? You just do all that through the client.
Yeah, like
League Director client.
Like just starting out with this and changing names and just having that up here, even though it's blue, it's still something that's more interactive, and you still get all these really nice tabs you can open. They're just not the color you might like. And then if you want to devote some time, or you got kids that are really good at this kind of stuff, you got people on your streaming team that want to play around with it, they can customize it, add their own files, and do all that jazz.
Yeah, it's a great task for a team manager or stream manager to get involved with. Do you have any other tips or wisdoms that you think anyone would need, or just go crazy and have fun?
Yeah, I mean, I just think go crazy. First, just get it installed, see if it runs. I think the first time I tried to install it, I literally had to try to install it 3 times to get it to run. I would open up the user interface, it would just close automatically. So don't get frustrated if you have to do a couple of installs to get it to work. Just keep persevering, keep trying.
Yeah, I think there's a couple other permissions that have to be activated. So it's definitely not something you want to do 20 minutes before a stream.
No.
Take a couple days to give it to play around with it and make sure you get it right. And I didn't know about the replay thing, so that's an awesome way to test and make sure everything's functioning. So okay, cool. Well, that's awesome and super helpful. Yeah, so thanks, Brad. Was there any other questions out there in chat land? Feel free to pop them in the chat or QA. But when's your next stream? When's Harlem going to be using this next?
Harlem will be streaming this Tuesday at 4 on Twitch, and it is the Play versus Match of the Week.
Oh. Are they going to be hosting your stream?
I don't know.
Because they need to if you're going to be using this.
Yeah, they should. But I think it's just more like they're going to post our link on their social and direct people to us.
Oh, okay. So either way, there'll be some traffic to check out this fire stream that's happening.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll try to do a little bit of more customization before then.
Okay. Get some of those dragon kill videos up.
I'm not sure about videos.
So yeah, I would definitely check to see if they'll host it, like Melanie said, because that'd be super rad.
Yeah, I'll ask them
Okay.
for sure.
Well, maybe next we'll have a shorty on some of this like sponsorship thing scroll that's going on, and some other ways that you might be using your stream to kind of take it from the simplicity of what Streamlabs lets you do, which is just push play essentially, and then add some playing around with the sources and the stingers and stuff like that. So
Oh, like this?
yeah, like that. Cool. Well, yeah, if anyone has any questions, we'll stick around for a little bit. But the links are all in the chat up above for the GitHub and to get Streamlabs if you don't have it. And if you need a graphic like that, you can message me.
Yeah, I have you to thank for this.
Yeah, so lots of people making. And did Justin make your transition slide?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I did nothing.
You've contributed to the overlay, which is great.
True.
So, can you put your? Sure. I'll put my Discord DM. Can't wait for the spam. So yeah, these are little placeholders for the starting soons, just a way to kind of get you on stream without, so you can have a couple minutes to do that. Feel free to send me a message. Can help you get loaded in. So yeah, well, thanks, Brad. I appreciate it. I learned a ton. There were a lot of things that I kept thinking, oh, this is the tip of the show. This is the tip of the show. But it's just a lot of cool stuff. So I really appreciate you helping out.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm open to answering specific questions if anyone wants to DM me as well.
Cool. Okay. Well, you've got our Discords. If anyone needs them, just give us a ping and we'll be putting out some more stuff in the future. And thanks everyone for being here. And of course, Liz and Melanie, thanks for giving us a platform to talk and share, and can't wait to do it again.
For sure. Thank you.